Well, good morning. Got my hairs cut. I'll read a passage here from a book I've read. It's by Gerald Schroeder. The Hidden Face of God is the title of the book. I still haven't found any more information on who and why this was made. But anyhow, let me read this passage here. Organization separates living matter from what we perceive as inert, lifeless matter. But there is no innate physical difference between the atoms before and after they organize, learn to take energy from their surrounding environment, and become, as a group, alive. However, there is what appears to be qualitative transition between the awesome biochemistry by which the brain physically records the incoming data and the consciousness by which we become aware of that stored information. In that passage, from brain to mind, we may be looking for a physical link that does not exist. Could the consciousness we perceive as the mind be as fundamental as, let's say, the phenomena of gravity generated by mass, or the electrical charge generated by a proton? Gravity and charge are emergent properties. They emanate from the substrate particles, as for example, gravity from mass, and extend throughout the universe. And though each particle continually emits its field, the emission does not use up the particle. For all of the force of the field, it seems the force emerges from, but is not made of the particle from which it arises. Though it originates with the substrate particle, the field is not part of the particle. Time provides an additional clue in the brain-mind puzzle. We drift in a river of time. There's no possibility of swimming upstream, of going back in time. Destroy every clock, every item that feels the passage of time. The flow of time continues unabated. Time is an intrinsic, ambiguous quality of our universe, irrespective of whether or not we measure its passage. Might consciousness also be an intrinsic, all-present part of nature, of the universe? In that case, every particle would have some aspect of consciousness within. The more complex the entity, the greater would be its awareness of the consciousness housed within. If quantum physics is correct, and it has an excellent track record of being on the mark, then this suggestion is not so very far from mainstream thought. Every particle, every body, each aspect of existence appears to be an expression of information. Information that via our brains or our minds we interpret as the physical world. Physicist Freeman Dyson, upon his acceptance of the Templeton Prize, stated the idea this way: atoms are weird stuff, behaving like active giants rather than inert substances. They make unpredictable choices between alternative possibilities according to the laws of quantum mechanics. It appears that mind, as manifested by the capacity to make choices, is to some extent inherent in every atom. The universe is also weird with its laws of nature that make it hospitable to the growth of mind. I do not make any clear distinction between mind and God. Yeah, interesting. These are the words of one of today's leaders in physics. Let me read that again. I do not make any clear distinction between mind and God. I guess we're made in his image. The other day I was talking to somebody that was having a hard time grasping the Trinity, the triune God, all in one, three in one. And I was kind of trying to use a simple explanation, for my mind is often very simple. Squirrel. And I was explaining a cookie with 3 ingredients. It's a cookie, but it has 3 ingredients. Another explanation I used was a rock, which is light, energy, basically lifeless matter, but it's same thing we're made of. The only difference is when we were dust and we will return to dust, our matter, we were injected with the other 2 parts of that Trinity: information, word, Jesus, Spirit, the Holy Ghost. I don't know if you got it or not, but that was the best I could do. So anyhow, that was a long one. Hope I read that well. I find that book very interesting. I've got 3 of his books. It's this one's Hidden Face of God by Gerald L. Schroeder. So anyhow, you all have a good one, and see you out on the river. God bless.